Hello and welcome back to Mindfully Amplified. I'm so excited that you are here in this space. Here in this space, we take a journey together into personal growth and cultural exploration. And today is exciting for me personally because I get to share with you by bringing a guest on to the podcast for the very first time. And so today we are tuning in and turning up the volume specifically on your life and your business, just like we do, but we're going to look at it through the lens of something very, very special. So I'm so excited to bring on this guest today, Miss Faith Hill.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
I always love that when I hit the wrong button. That's always fun. Welcome, Faith. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. So fun.
So I'm excited because Faith, you were the first person that came to heart when I thought about bringing guests onto podcasts. Like I knew this was going to be in the path, but it felt super resonant. And this topic that we're talking about today ties in so well with some of the recent topics that I've been covering on the podcast, which is really about giving people permission to be their unique and multifaceted, multicolored people, individuals that they are in this world, and spending a little less time putting themselves and energy, putting themselves in the boxes that other people have created for us. So I'm so thrilled to bring you on. And this episode specifically, we are talking about the idea of what it means to be a multi-potentialite and how that can offer you freedom and structure, self-compassion, and just full opportunity to embody the full essence in who you are as an individual by weaving in these special passions and gifts into your day-to-day. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what it means to be a multi-potentialite. We're going to talk about how to expand who you are as an individual and allow those things to come through in what you get to do in this world, how you serve the world, and allow those callings to really speak to those who you get to serve. So, Faith, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, Faith, what would you describe yourself as when we talk about this concept of what we like to say for you is this intuitive architect? Can you tell me a little bit about what that means and how that comes through for the community?
Yeah. So intuitive architect is such a soul birthed business name, should I say, right? So to me, it means holding both the dream and the details, right? So I get to help people build lives and businesses that feel like home, really, to their soul, right? Like, so there's that intuitive guidance piece, but there's also tangible structure, right? So my clients come to me when they're tired, maybe when they're forcing that path that isn't fitting or they're hitting a wall, but they really want to design something that is just uniquely theirs. So for me, the intuitive architect gets to kind of blend both of my gifts of intuition and also structure and details and putting frameworks.
Something that we all need more of, by the way. Always need more structure and support from that foundation, more than we think, right? We come in strong with passion often into business world. We're so fired up and ready to share our gifts, and the structure is not there for us. It doesn't come by way of osmosis. We need to build it, and we need the support to help us know what needs to be present so that our visions and passions can come to life in the world. So we
And
talk
sometimes
about this idea.
I'm
Say that again?
sorry. Sometimes it's flipped also, right? Like where people have so much passion and dream and have no idea where to start, with the structure. So sometimes they have all structure and sometimes they have all dreams. And so it
Ooh.
really is merging that like masculine, feminine essence together to really move the needle forward into what you are here to do.
Ooh, I love that awareness because that's so true. There's some of us who are like super Virgos and we've got all the planning and all the structure and the passion is lacking.
Yes.
I love this. I love that you even mentioned that because for sure it is a balance. It's finding that that middle piece, that harmony in between. So when we talk about this idea of multi-potentialite and acknowledging that it's actually a gift, right? I talk a lot about this related to my human design and being a manifesting generator, but then also recognizing the uniqueness of things like my ADHD, that little neurospiciness, recognizing that these things are not hindrances and instead they actually become somewhat of a gift that we didn't even realize was there, and it can be some in some ways the way that we allow ourselves to be the fullness of who we are. So being a blueprint really of who we are in the world. So can you talk a little bit about what it means to be a multi-potentialite?
So, first of all, I didn't coin the term. I have no idea who coined the term. I have used it ever since a mutual friend of ours, Dr. Liz Burkholder, and I were talking in 2020. And I was just telling her all the things that I had going on. She's like, "Oh, you're a multi potentialite." So, I have no idea where it totally came from or if she made it up. But, you know, I have heard some people use it as an absolving of themselves, like, I'm not it's just I'm a multi-potentialite. It's not that I'm flaky. You can be flaky and also be a multi-potentialite, right? Like, so there can be some so let's not confuse the two things, right? Like with characteristics and then also this deep part of just who you are. So for me, a multi-potentialite is this essence of who you are, that you actually have the ability to hold multiple passions for things that maybe sometimes look like they're coinciding or don't go together at all. Or maybe it's not just passions, but it's skill sets, right? So we just
Mm,
talked about having an intuitive skill set as well as a strategic skill set. Those two things could seem in some worlds as if they're diabolically opposite, but
mm,
really they are contained in one structure, being myself, right? And that could be the same is true for you. It could be not just passions, but skills that you actually do well at an expert level. So this is not an excuse to be, I'm just a multi-potentialite, so I'm flaky because I like to do so many different things. That's something different, okay? A multi-potentialite is actually one that knows how to hone and steward multiple different things that could be in different genres and do them really well. There's
mm,
actually not a lot of multi potentialites, I would say, in this world, right? Like, I think that there's a lot of people that have multi passions and honestly maybe don't have the skill sets to juggle them. And that's a conversation for a different time. And we'll talk about that even in our next episode. But at the end of the day, I think a multi potentialite does have the awareness of multiple different passions and or skills, sometimes in different genres, and can execute them really well. That does not mean that if you're not executing well, you're not a multi-potentialite.
mm.
Means could mean that you are on the journey to becoming what does it mean to steward this gifting that you do have. So there are some nuances with that.
I appreciate you sharing that specifically about the realities, the harsh realities for some of us that you might just be flaky. Like, let's just acknowledge that truth that, you know what, this is the season where I am non-committal and I'm not going to follow through because this is where I'm at in season of life. And we've all been there where it's like, I don't have the capacity to hold all the things. So I might show up or I just may not be able to show up in my fullness right now. And that's we have to be honest with ourselves about that, right? But
Very.
in this way, like when we have the potential to do it and we actually drive that home, like having that come together and tie into what it is that we are really interested in and have this natural gifting potentially or a gifting that has been birthed through experience, but at least we are bringing these things together and have honed in on the strategy, right? And so obviously strategy doesn't always come naturally for everybody, and so there's definitely some guidance and inspiration like from working with someone like yourself that can help people really hone that in, right? The architect piece of it. It's like, great, you've got all the passion and you have the ability. We see that you can drive this home, but you don't have the roadmap. Let me help you with pulling that roadmap together, right? Yeah. So what are the things that you believe that people need to unlearn when they have this like multiple passions, but they don't know what to do with it, and it's like let's dispel some of the myths that come up when people want to share this gifting of multiple passions but just don't know what to do or how to bring it to life.
I think in general, when people see someone that is a multi-potentialite and don't know what they're looking at, they see someone that asks a lot of questions, potentially challenges the norm. These people typically don't hold a corporate job really well. And the reason for and this is just in general, right? But like the reason for that is because they actually take ownership really, really well. Right. They love to own their lane. And that is amazing for the conscious entrepreneur who's hiring and really is maybe a solopreneur looking to expand their team and looking for some team members that really own their lane, right? Like for a conscious person, you want a multi-potentialite that their one of their passions co-align with what you this job that you have. But for a system, for a corporate system, they can be a challenge, right? Because they're always going to be bucking the bigger thing. Also, a thing about multi-potentialites is forward progression is king, right? Growth is the driver. So for folks like this, it's they are always expanding themselves and expanding their knowledge and wanting to grow, but also wanting to push the needle forward. So something that is looping, cyclical, doesn't have a lot of growth opportunity, or something that's challenging is not going to be a good fit, right? Because this person, and I think the reason that flaky can sometimes kind of coexist, right, with this is because they have no problems going from one project to another. And the reason for that is they will go, I do this in my own, I will go until there's this dead end that the strategy, I can't quite figure it out. And I'm okay once I have pushed to that limit, I'm okay to lay it to rest, right? And either pick up another passion of mine or redesign, right? And so it doesn't mean that I hate that or I'm done with that. It just means when the ease comes back and there's life on that again, I will gladly pick that up. But I need that forward progression, right? And so I think for multi-potentialites, I think, you hear business coaches all the time, have multiple streams of income, have multiple revenue streams and things of that nature. And some people, especially in like a 9 to 5, they're like, I don't even understand that, right? Or some people that are entrepreneurs and they are pouring everything they have into this role, right? This one role. They don't understand that either. And so it really is a dance that these people do have the capacity to do, that they're able to have a cadence of really pushing hard when it's easy and pulling back when it gets too hard, right? And also, the growth process of a multi-potentialite is knowing and understanding what that does look like. Am I pushing? Is it hard because I need to grow a skill? Is it hard because there's just not life on it right now, right? Like we all know that there's an energetic resonance when like spirit has breathed grace on a specific thing, right? So am I pushing against because, I'm striving and I am trying to really validate something from within me, right? This is the trap for multi-potentialites, because are we wanting all these projects because we are filling a void in ourselves, or are these projects in front of us because literally we feel we have this destiny, this calling, there's something more in us, right? Like I know that I'll explain to certain people the things that I have to be careful, honestly, who I tell all the businesses I have, because they look at me like A, what's wrong with you? B, how do you have the time? C, surely, something's not working if you have to do all those things. When in reality, there is a part of who I am that comes alive in each of those businesses, and they're all so different. And so I had to heal though, because that was a looping fear, right? Is it that I'm having so many things because there's something in me I'm trying to meet a need? Or even with all of these beautiful, successful things in front of me, I feel there's more. Is that coming from a place of lack within myself, or overflow of giftings and abundance that the world really is craving from me?
Oh my gosh. This piece of almost shame and guilt that comes from other people's projections around what it is to be in a normal, sustainable either business or as a team member in someone else's business, right? If you're running your own business, we always have heard this, right? You got to pick a lane, you got to stay in the lane, you got to, and
Mhm.
that works for some people. It does. And there's some people, as you just articulated, that they will feel overwhelmed with the idea that there are multiple areas that we're serving the community, even in a business model that is only got one main purpose, one primary purpose. But the truth is if you're feeling this calling and there is truly this kind of inner design that comes from you that says, you know what, you're really great at this. And in this moment, the passion is coming through and you are ready to fully embody the strategy of that. And then in the next, week or the next few days, you're like, okay, I am ready to pivot, shift slightly, and focus on this other area. it takes healing to embody that. I would go like say it goes from like feeling guilty because everyone else has this expectation of you to always stay in your own lane and only move this direction and only stay focused on one thing at a time. And I say that it is, we are focused on one thing at a time. Sometimes it's hyper focused and we're like deep diving into that, and nothing is going to distract us from that moment. But when we feel like it's time to let up, like we're foot off the gas in this, because we know that there is another area that we would like to tend to and have, as you said, the capacity to, it really goes from feeling guilty to true embodiment of who we are and how we were designed. And that is, I think, the essence of feeling like you're in your own skin instead of trying to put on this mask that is hiding behind other people. And I personally resonate with obviously the multiple callings and feeling very clear about like this innate, something that was really God-given, right? Like Spirit said, this is who you are. I've given you all this gifting. I've also given you the capacity to hold multiple things at once. And so it is a disservice to myself if I move through life. And I say that from experience, having lived in that life for like almost 20 years where I felt like I couldn't move out of this world. I started dabbling on the other side, and I felt the projections from other people saying, oh, you're going to do that along with this? Like, but aren't you supposed to just stay in healthcare? Aren't you supposed to stay in this world? And realizing that I actually can allow myself to embody both things took a lot of healing. It took a lot of releasing other people's expectations. And so, what would you say to people who find themselves in that space of like, I want to do this, I feel passionate about it, but everybody else keeps telling me I should just stay until it's time to retire or until it's time to, close the chapter on X business or position that I've been holding for a while.
You'll never hear me say, jump with all 2 feet, abandon all the ships, and just go for your passion. I definitely think that that's a beautiful narrative for a lot of people. I'm too Virgo and I'm too pragmatic and I'm a single mom. So I have too many details in my life that really don't allow that type of what I would deem irresponsibility because I'm such a Virgo. But, for me, if you have a prompting, it is in you for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you do yourself and the world a disservice to not at least sit with it and begin chewing on it, begin diving into it, begin exploring it, even if it's in meditation, even if it just starts there, right? Like, this is not a podcast on manifestation, but if you want to talk about that, when you begin meditating on the possibility of something, energetically your frequency does begin to change, which means what you're emitting, every single thing, everything that is matter has an energetic frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And when you begin manifesting and changing that, maybe even consciously or subconsciously, you are going to start attracting different things that all of a sudden start opening the door and the path. And so that is what I love about, being able to hold the duality of having a skill set that I can bust doors down. Okay. I can create doors and bust them down. And also having the wisdom to have an element of surrender, right? That is enabling me to be guided and stay in flow. Because when you start to, like what you said, I, stayed in this world kind of long. Why? Right? Like, it was meeting and eating you, or maybe you were people pleasing others, or whatever the case may be. We've all done it, right? But that begins to start to shift you from flow to striving, and you begin to lose yourself, right? And so I am a big believer that there are some times you have to do things you don't want to do, right? I wish I could sit here and say, just do what you're passionate about. I honestly think it's a bunch of horseshit. I wish that I could always just do what I'm passionate about. I have responsibilities. I have to also do things. There's been many times in my path where I've done things that I had to do, right? Like, that's tenacity, that's character, that's, you got to do what you got to do to support yourself and to hold yourself. And also you are in power, you are in control to be able to also create a path for you outside of that. So I think if you're just starting to say that I have multiple passions, I have multiple parts of me, it's a really beautiful thing to be in flow, because where you see there's no way, there's a way. And
Totally.
also, when you see there's no continuity, right? Medical billing and yoga, right? Like, but really the truth is, it's all coaching, it's all embodiment, right? Like, it doesn't matter the genre, right?
Mhm.
So intuitive nature, structure, and strategy, right?
Mhm.
It still moves the needle forward. So I think what I've found that I love the most, once you begin even opening yourself to a possibility, like there's no way. I mean, if you're already saying things like, there's no way, I have no time, I have, okay, then that's the energy that you're going to emit, and that's what's going to be there for you. But if you can, in a very safe place, create a way for yourself to just dream,
Yeah.
intentionally dream,
Mhm.
intentionally go, what if, when it's safe, you haven't put any money into it, you haven't stopped doing anything that brings you money, like you're just going, what if, something will begin to shifting you.
Oh, that's powerful advice for people who can't kind of move with reckless abandon and be like, I'm just going to drop it all and I'm going to start doing this multi-potentialite life and have all these businesses and all the things, and there's no money coming into the home. So it absolutely is sound sage advice, I think, to be very real and honest about where you are in the stage of life that you're in, with responsibilities, expectations, things that must be done, and also acknowledging the possibilities of this dreaming up and envisioning another path, and actually starting to open up your heart, mind, and spirit to what that could look like. And it start to maybe in some way create a little bit more flexibility in ways that you didn't expect. Like perhaps you were feeling quite bound to business and, I mean, to your job or your business that you're working in this moment. And now that you've started to explore the possibilities, you're like, wow, I actually do have those few hours a week or something, that this can be something that I start to explore. And somehow, this, I don't know if you could resonate with this, that somehow when you really start to open yourself up to this kind of envisioning, it starts to fuel you even more. It's like, I am tending to this seed that has been in me, and now it's germinating and it's feeling excited, and now it's energy that's being created inside of me, that now I actually have way more energy to fuel these multiple passions. And there's now a capacity for me to say, I am going to continue working in this field, while also making time on, I love these people who are Instagram. Like I follow this one girl who was in a totally separate industry and was just tending to plants on the side, and started doing this, social media like channel, just talking about her life with plants and all the things. Now she's a full-time content creator and focuses only on plant education and all the things. But it's like, it's like you come from this completely separate world and you're like, I could post a video a week to talk about plants and my passions around plants. I love this. And all of a sudden you're just like expanding to the possibilities. There's sponsorships, there's, all different kinds of things. Now you're inspiring other people and encouraging them to do something that's good for them, and also some self-care practices and things that come along with that. Like there's just this kind of downstream beautiful impact when you open your mind to it. So good. All right. So I'm curious, how, as a multi-potentialite, do you stay grounded? Do you stay connected to the kind of essence of what you're trying to bring to life, the grounded in or anchored in the essence of what you want to do, while also juggling these different projects? Like, how is it that you stay grounded while you're moving through these different projects that you're working on?
I haven't always been. And
Love
I
that.
think that is a beautiful part of the journey. But I
Mhm.
think that taking our thoughts captive, taking my thoughts captive, is a really big one. One of the first things when I first started to realize that I was someone that could have the capacity to do multiple things, and I would have people say all the time, like, when are you going to put some of these projects down and even have a baby? I was 34 when I had my little one, and people were thinking that was too late back then. Like, so everybody always has an opinion of things, and or that looping narrative that, like, jack of all trades, master of none. That is one of my, it used to be debilitating for me. It used to be embarrassing for me to tell all the things that I had going on, because of that dogma. Honestly, I mean, this was years ago, but still, like, I remember having to literally sift through the thoughts about that. Like, maybe I really am not a master of any of these things, right? And I think that that's where I began to, as time has progressed, right? Like, now I've got 15, 20 years experience doing multiple things. And I'm like, actually, that doesn't apply to me. It just doesn't. And so, I think for me to stay grounded, to answer your question, I it is a daily choice to take my thoughts captive,
Mhm.
to stay grounded, that every single day is here today. I am a Virgo, so by nature, it is my job to worry about the problems that don't exist yet and take responsibility for them. And so that is, literally something that I have to. There's a good thing because I play the movie forward naturally. It's just how my brain works.
Mhm.
And so I put out fires before they start, and that's just the way my brain works. So for me, not all people are wired that way. For me, it is a constant reminder that my feet are on the ground and today is today. And should that arise tomorrow, I will have everything that I need. Everything that I need to deal with that tomorrow. So for me, it is a constant reminder. I do a meditative practice at least twice a day, sometimes in the middle of the day. But I also am a very I have strategies. Like, what works for me. I am also a huge note person. Like, I am a list person. I don't just do my yearly, here's what I manifest for the year, want to get done for the year. It is a weekly thing for me to say. It's a monthly thing. What moves the dial forward for me this month, breaking that down into weekly items. And every week I look at what is it this week and then reprioritize that and then try to file it in the days. It's amazing when you do that. It's like taking that bite of the elephant, or taking the elephant one bite at a time. It's amazing when you do that, when you realize how much you can get done in 5 hours a week. Like, really, I
Mm.
mean, it's pretty amazing. So, yeah, I think those are some of the tools that I do, but I think first and foremost, it is a daily reminder to stay present in today.
Yeah. It's so great. I love that you put out the things that work well for you and letting other people really think about the truth of it is that it's not everything works for everyone, and we are designed differently. And I am someone who really resonates with your weekly and your daily, and encapsulating what the monthly goals are, and looking at kind of, I would say, more micro periods versus this like annual thing, because a lot of people who will do those annual goals only look at them once a year, and then they're like, oh no, I didn't, you kind of get into this place of like, a guilt or shame, or you didn't achieve the goals, or disappointment, and all those other negative emotions that come up, when instead it's like making conscious decisions every week. So it's recognizing that like things that work for us may not work for you. And we recommend the best advice really is try a bunch of things, see what works, see what helps you feel like you have a little bit more spaciousness. I love the notion earlier you were kind of sharing, like, pressing on the gas and then when to let up. And I love that idea of noticing what it is that allows you to feel like you've gotten your foot off, you can take your foot off of the gas and have like more space for an exhale, so that you can really be present with what it is that you want to move with next. I think that for me is has been important to acknowledge that, okay, like today, what's the energy of the day? And I put this on my to-do list. However, is the energy of the day, that does it need to shift? And do I need to now move with some other kind of focus, so that I can really allow myself to be in harmony with my
Yeah,
life?
that's beautiful because I definitely think there's a distinction, right? Like, structure does not equal
Mm.
rigidity, right? Like, so though there is
Yeah.
commitment and there is prioritization, those things are very real. I know as a woman entrepreneur, my cycle absolutely dictates what a lot of times my weekly is, right? Like, I will tell you the mental, when I feel like, first of all, as a multi-potentialite, whatever, a woman that owns three businesses, it's not all businesses, it's not all three businesses at every moment, right? There is an ebb and a flow, there are seasons, there isn't balance necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sometimes it's very like weighted more to one business than another because that's what it needs,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's not all the time, it
Yeah.
is staying in flow. And yeah, I think I had another thought, but I think I lost it.
No, it's all good. I love and appreciate that too. Like I hate this notion of balance and thinking that things have to be equal. Like everything
Right,
needs 50%, or
right.
20%. If you got five things going on, 20. Like the truth is that there are seasons even in some industries where it's going to get a lot more of your time and energy. And when you're feeling energetically, like you have the capacity. Like for me, summertime is usually my on time. Wintertime, not so much. And so I'm usually like, okay, these are the things
Mhm,
that I am birthing. And during wintertime, it's kind of status quo. We're going to just
mhm,
kind of float through certain
mhm.
things. I won't be birthing anything new. I will be tending and really nurturing, but just allowing things to flow instead of what comes forth in season. So just acknowledging that there is kind of a harmonious flow that you have to find in your own on your own
100%.
with through your own experimentation with the things that work well for you from day to day, and also building those rituals and time frames for those rituals. So it could be the daily ones, it could be weekly, the things that feel like the best cadence that supports you. That's what you need to move with, and that's going to just take trial and error for sure. So, and I rigidity is never a good thing in my opinion.
Knowing yourself, like, for me, the summer's always hardest for me. It's when I come alive, I love it, but I am a single mom, so I am also camp counselor, okay, during the summer. So
Kid, gotta love that kid.
three businesses and a camp counselor full time. It's a lot. It's a lot. So, like, having grace for myself, but also I tend to know my triggers. I tend to know that, um, oh, here comes that familiar thought that life is too much. I'm a failure. I'm not
Mm.
enough. I can't do it. Like, when I start hearing those like familiar phrases, they come literally once a month, maybe. Like, usually it's about every other month. I have one wonky side. So when I have my cycle, it's like literally one ovary, I guess, is completely in alignment and the other one is not. And like literally I get all the negative stuff. But for me, because it's every other month, sometimes it hits me and I just tend to almost believe it at first because like I don't know where it's coming from. And then literally I
Mm.
remind myself, this is my trigger. It's like my capacity, my energetic capacity shrinks at that time during my cycle. And to give myself so much grace around that, and really, if I can, try to strategically not plan so much around that if I think about it ahead of time.
Oh, I've you speaking to my soul right now because that is I resonate deeply. The energetic capacity definitely dwindles around that time of month. And sometimes it catches me off guard or like there's a little reset in my dates and I'm like, I had it on my calendar and now I've got to shift some things because I just know. I just know I'm gonna feel differently and I won't feel as present or as I wouldn't say confident, but really there is an air of confidence that comes through when you are in flow, right? You are just naturally you're a bit lighter. And sometimes then the time of month comes around, we're just kind of questioning a little bit more. And sometimes the
And
imposter syndrome kind of can sneak in there a little bit more, especially when we're for the first time perhaps nurturing a new passion
new
or
venture
something
for
that's
sure. That's
curiosity.
a conversation for a whole other day. Is when you are starting something new and all the things that come with it, passion, skill set, or not.
Oh yeah, I hear that. So we did talk a little bit about the shadow side already of this whole multi-potentialite life. Like, what other things would you say are the difficult parts of having this this gifting, and how do we kind of allow ourselves to bring back all of our fragmented parts and the parts that help us like kind of recalibrate and find ourselves being okay with ourselves. So like after the little pause in the month, it's just like, oh my gosh, the world is ending for these couple of days. How do we come back? How do we bounce back from that? And what's the advice that you could give?
I think you hit it too with that fragmentation, right? It's when we forget that there is a continuous fiber
Mm-hmm.
there, whether we see it or not. And even if you're not seeing it, I think what could encourage you is that you are one person. You are one person, made of three parts. I always say, I'm a spirit with a soul that lives in a body, right? But they're not fragmented, they are one. And so if both of these if these things that you have been entrusted to steward, and you are incubating, and you are facilitating, and you know that they are in your lap for a reason outside of yourself, and they feel like they are pulling you in different directions, that's when the pause really needs to come, because either there's just it's not the right time for that amount of effort, that's a real thing, or the just regrounding in that there is a continuous thread, because I am one person. And so
Mm-hmm.
regrounding to the higher perspective of what those things are, right? And I also don't want anyone to hear this and be like, I cannot resonate with this at all. Like, not everyone needs to have multiple projects, right? But there are those of us that feel a little odd in this world, because we do, and we want more, and it doesn't come from this place of greed or does this need of wanting more. If
Mm-hmm.
that is the energy, then that is a huge indicator that there's some internal work that needs to be done, because you're trying to fill a void within yourself. And no matter what you do, and no matter how many projects you have, and no matter how many millions of dollars you have in the bank, you're not going to fill that void. Like, that's literally a losing battle. So this is not that, right? Like, I'm talking about the ones of us that just go, I just know that I'm called to do more. Or when you're looking at all the things that you have achieved or done, and most people will be like, well, damn, I would retire. And you're going, I really haven't done anything. Like, I haven't even scratched the surface of what I know I'm called to do. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that actually comes from a place of humility, not a play. Like, I think that's the hardest part for me, is that people think, because of all of this stuff going on, that I must be so self-absorbed or so self-confident, or so, like, in fact, I think that it sometimes can feel really opposite of that. I definitely don't. I have had to work through the self-doubt to get where I am, no doubt about it. But that definitely does not mean that I have an arrogance about what I'm doing. In fact, there's such a humility when you know that, like, spirit has entrusted you with multiple different things, because they have a specific design for the world. I think that they're in line with that comes this, like, beautiful humility and reverence and awe of, like, oh my gosh, I get to steward this. Like, I get to bring this to the world. And you know what? I can't mess it up, because I am uniquely me, and I was uniquely called to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something grounding about that for me.
So beautifully stated. And I as you were saying this part about being called to it, and I think sometimes we can use this word responsibility as a negative word, where it's like, I feel responsible. The truth is that you are called to this, and you are able to respond. And that, when you acknowledge that you have been designed, and you have the gifting, the natural gifting that spirit's already given you to say yes to lean into, you get to choose
Yeah.
to tap into that power that's already there, and actually respond in a way that is not just sustainable for you, but also the rewarding to the collective, to the folks that you're meant to serve. And all of the ways that you are meant to show up in the world actually will feel nourishing, not just to you, but also to the wider collective, which feels, I think, really beautiful. Yeah. All right. So I feel like this was a really nourishing conversation, at least for me personally. So thank you for sharing. What other wisdom would you have for folks who are maybe for the first time, like, discovering that they are multi-potentialite, or they are like, they knew it, but they're still on the fence? Like, what else, what advice, what other wisdom would you want to share with those folks who are like, I just need a little extra nudge from faith to help get me out of this space that I'm stuck in?
You're not in competition with anyone, especially yourself.
Mm,
And, you know, when you actually stop trying to fit into this idea of what was supposed to be, you actually open the door for the possibility and the potential of what is. And, you know, nothing is lost. And this makes me like, nothing is lost.
mm,
Like, there's no wrong path. Even if it's a job you absolutely fucking hate, there is something in it that is so for you and that is a seed that you are going to take with you to the next thing. Nothing is lost.
mm,
And I think that that's where, for me personally, that's where the heaviness can come in, is if I feel like I'm behind on whose timeline.
mm,
You know, like we are not behind. We are continually becoming, and it is
mm,
a beautiful journey. And whether it feels like it or not, well, it's not always forward progressive, but you definitely can find the forward progression in it. And honestly, if you are feeling stuck, you know, that's when either the surrender comes and or the action is taken. So I think that it typically comes the opposite of what you're naturally bent to do.
mm.
So, like, if you are a doer, you know how to create doors, you know how to bust them down, you know how to do things. I guarantee you that your breakthrough is actually in the surrender and in the pause. And if you are one that's a procrastinator, you are paralyzed, you're a fawn, you actually just do not know how to move forward, your breakthrough is in the taking action. So
Mm.
it often comes in the discomfort of what is not as natural. But the timing and the grace on that is where you have to go within yourself and know when that is. And that
Yeah.
there's no wrong answer.
I had like heavy eye roll on that one. Like, oh my gosh, yes, it is in the opposite of what you really want to be. You're like, I can't. I just do. Can I just keep pushing through? If that's
No,
already been what you're doing, it's full surrender. That is what is
I
needed.
know.
I love that you know that acknowledging the duality there, and also just the way that this kind of natural ebb and flow supports our journey versus like this feeling of like I just want to do what feels easy. Like sometimes you got to do the thing that feels less comfortable. Most times, the things that feel less comfortable are the thing the greatest catalysts, and it does take the acknowledgement of that, right? Like I know that this doesn't come easily. There are resources and people that can help me do that. So,
Mhm.
what
It's true.
kind of
I think that
oh, go ahead.
comfort and ease, I'm sorry, I know you have another question, but I just wanna make that distinction too, that it's both sides of the same coin, like comfort and ease, right? Like,
Mhm,
yes, it is gonna the discomfort of doing the thing that isn't your natural way,
mhm.
that's not the same as shutting down your natural gifts and having to do something that isn't your natural gifting. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah.
like, most often, like, I just want to make that distinction because I think that that nuance can get a little bit frustrating and
Mhm.
confusing. It was frustrating for me. Literally, spirit put me on a journey of pause for 5 years. I'm a fucking doer. I am a doer. If I, it's like, what do I do with my hands? Like, I don't, I'm not doing something. Like, what is happening? But honestly, that pause for literally 5 years of rest. Every card I pulled, every person that had a word for me, everybody that I went to, they're like, "You're called to a season of rest." I'm like, if somebody else tells me that, I said, I would be dead if I rest anymore. What the actual hell? I was pissed. I was like, okay, God, like, I guess I thought I was like a starter player on your A team. I'm on the bench. Okay. Maybe I'm just not as good as I thought. Like maybe I don't have the giftings that I thought that I had. Maybe, I mean, oh my God, in that season of rest was me facing my darkest shadows. And anyway, I yeah.
Oh, I love that. I really want to. We got to have a whole conversation about that because I think that leaning into rest and surrendering into the things that don't feel good absolutely needs a lot more conversation because we all can attest to like when it's uncomfortable or just like I just want to push past this and keep doing the things that just feel good and easy, and also almost like not ever touch the opposite sensations in the body. So tell me a little bit about how people can find you. Oh, and then if you have anything else you want to share, if you want a journal prompt that you would like to offer
Yeah,
our
I mean,
listeners today, I would love to.
I love that. I definitely do. I mean, I feel like if you are in this place in your life and you do feel like you have a lot more to give to this world
Mm,
and you don't know where to start, you don't know what to do, I definitely would love to see you give yourself some time to meditate on the possibility of what if. You know, you can journal prompt yourself like what would I give myself permission to pursue if all things were possible? Right? Like
Mm,
something along those lines, just to start opening that gate up a little bit, right? It is my jam, it is my passion in life to help someone go within, deep within, and start asking questions to excavate some of those deep desires that you probably want to push down because they're so irrelevant, they're just so stupid, or they could never happen. Those are that's I'm a gold digger in the best way possible. I love getting that gold out of individuals and literally just holding the space for the possibility and the what if. And if
mm,
spirit allows, if the person is open, getting to put maybe a few tangible strategic pieces around that to actually get some forward progression, to get some movement, to even explore the what if. That is my passion in life. So you can find me on Instagram at intuitive_architect. And there's a link in my bio. You can get a discovery call and we can see if we're a good fit and I can help find some of that gold.
Thank you so much, Intuitive Architect. It was such a great conversation. I have one important final question for you.
Yes.
If you could amplify one message to the entire world, what would it be?
Only you can do you the way that you do. And the world is craving the real you.
Mm,
Let's go.
mm, so powerful. Drop the mic on that one. Thank you all so much for being here, Faith. It has been an honor in conversation with you. Thank you so much for sharing your gifts and your wisdom with us. And we will see you in the next episode. Until then, continue living life mindfully amplified.